quiet village of Elmswood, life moved slowly, like the pages of a well-worn book. Among the hills and moss-covered paths lived 12-year-old Arya, a curious girl with a love for stories and secrets. One crisp autumn afternoon, as she walked home from school, a strange whisper echoed through the trees. It wasn't the wind, it was something else. The voice seemed to call her name, soft but clear, leading her toward the forest edge. Though she had walked that way hundreds of times, today felt different, as if something hidden had awakened just for her. Following the sound, Arya found herself at the edge of a forgotten trail, almost swallowed by thorny vines and twisted branches. She hesitated for a moment before pushing her way through. At the end of the path stood an ancient stone wall, cracked and covered in ivy. Behind the vines, her fingers brushed against cold metal, a handle, a hidden door. With a deep breath and a racing heart, she pulled it open. A creaking staircase spiraled downward into the earth, cloaked in silence and shadows. The air was damp, carrying the smell of old pages and something magical. At the bottom of the staircase, Arya gasped. Before her stretched a vast underground chamber, glowing with a soft golden light. Towering bookshelves lined the walls, reaching higher than she could see. The books themselves shimmered, humming faintly as if they were alive. Some floated gently from shelf to shelf, while others opened themselves mid-air and turned their own pages. In the center of the room stood a large pedestal, atop which rested a book that seemed to pulse with energy. As Arya stepped closer, the book opened by itself, revealing her name written across the first page. With a sudden flutter of wings, a great owl descended from the rafters, landing beside her. Its eyes sparkled like starlight, ancient and wise. "I am Orin," the owl said, his voice deep and calm. "Guardian of the secret library, this place reveals itself only to those chosen by fate." Arya blinked in astonishment. Orin explained that this library held all the forgotten knowledge of the world, lost stories, hidden truths, and powerful secrets. Arya had been chosen not just to witness it, but to protect it. A great mystery lingered within, one only she could solve. As Orin guided Arya through the library, he showed her sections filled with maps that moved, diaries that spoke, and scrolls that shimmered with ancient runes. But one door stood apart from the rest, painted deep crimson and etched with the word forbidden. "Never enter that room," Orin warned. "Darkness dwells there." Arya nodded, but her eyes lingered. Later, while exploring on her own, she found a damaged book near the red door. The pages were torn, but one name was clear: Ellion, her grandfather. Her heart froze. He had vanished years ago without a trace. What was he doing in a forbidden book? Curled in a quiet corner of the library, Arya read what she could of the torn book. It told the story of a brave librarian who had discovered a dangerous secret threatening the world's knowledge. The book ended abruptly, torn mid-sentence. But Arya was sure the librarian was her grandfather, Ellion. Orin refused to speak of it, only repeating, "The forbidden section is not safe." But Arya's curiosity burned brighter than fear. If her grandfather had entered that place, so would she. She had to know the truth, no matter what lay beyond that crimson door. Late that night, when the library was quiet, and even the floating book slept, Arya crept to the forbidden door. With a trembling hand, she turned the handle. Cold air rushed out. Inside, the hallway twisted unnaturally, as though it shifted with each step she took. Books lined the walls here too, but they screamed silently, their words swirling like smoke. Ink floated mid-air, forming eerie shapes that whispered riddles. At the end of the passage, a dark pedestal held a single book wrapped in black chains. It was her grandfather's journal, his last written words. Arya opened the journal slowly. Her grandfather's voice echoed in her mind as she read. He had uncovered a secret. One of the original keepers of the library had turned greedy, trying to use the knowledge for power. That keeper was sealed away in the forbidden section, but his influence remained. Elian had entered this place to keep the seal from breaking, but time had weakened the magic. If you're reading this, the final page read, then the library has chosen you. Only you can finish what I started. Arya wiped a tear from her cheek. She wasn't just part of the story, she was its hero. To save the library, Arya had to pass the trial of the chosen, a test of the heart and mind. She faced illusions of her fears, being forgotten, losing her family, and failing like others before her. But she stood firm. The trial tested her kindness, her courage, and her cleverness with riddles no one had solved in centuries. With each challenge, the chains on the dark knowledge weakened until, finally, she closed the corrupted book and sealed it with her will. The air shifted, light returned to the forbidden passage, and the walls straightened. The trial was over. She had passed. As she emerged from the forbidden section, Orin was waiting. "You have done what no one else could," he said with pride. "You are the new keeper of the secret library." The shelves glowed brighter, and the books hummed in harmony. Arya now wore a pendant shaped like a key, a symbol of her bond with the library. She would return to the surface, but the library would always be with her, whispering stories only she could hear. And somewhere, in another quiet village, a new whisper drifted through the trees, searching for the next guardian of forgotten wonders.